accountability for how people use their power is one of the great ways in which the administration has successfully expanded their own powers as well. For example, by dramatically expanding secrecy surrounding the executive branch in all kinds of ways, going after open government laws, expanding executive privilege, expanding the use of the state secret privilege to get rid of lawsuits in courts, and on and on and on. What they've done is they've made the executive branch much more of a black box, so that outsiders, whether Congress, the courts, or just voters, don't know what officials are doing with these powers at the very moment that the powers are being dramatically increased. And that means that the officials who have that power, whoever they are at any given moment, are much freer to do whatever they want with them.
Charlie Savage, how is the Bush administration remaking the Civil Rights Division in the Justice Department?
This is another example of the myriad ways in which they're concentrating more power in the White House. In this case, centralizing greater control over the permanent government, the bureaucracy. There's 8 or 9 case studies in my book that explain different tactics for this, which have been very successfully implemented. One of them is in the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, which is an agency set up by statute with a mission by statute of enforcing the nation's civil rights laws, primarily to protect minorities against discrimination. Conservative presidents have long tussled with this agency because they have different ideas about, how much affirmative action should be part of these kinds of things. But no president until this administration has messed with long-standing traditional procedures for hiring career lawyers in the Civil Rights Division. And even under Reagan, even under Nixon, they never went this far. But what this administration did, starting in 2002, is they changed the procedures whereby if there was a vacancy in the career ranks, previously career veterans would decide who should fill that position. And that meant that they were still hiring people who had a demonstrated commitment to enforcing civil rights laws. In 2002, in an unprecedented step, the administration changed that and centralized control among political appointees for hiring replacement career lawyers, and stopped hiring people with a demonstrated commitment to enforcing civil rights, and started hiring people who were members of the Federalist Society, or if they and who had no experience on civil rights law, or if they did have experience, their experience was fighting against the traditional enforcement of civil rights, defending companies against discrimination lawsuits and so forth. And so they've been remaking that division as a way of sort of behind the scenes seizing and imposing greater political control over it. Lawsuits alleging systematic discrimination against minorities have fallen, against African Americans, that is. And the agency is redirecting its resources now towards reverse discrimination against whites, discrimination against Christians, these sorts of things that are more in line with the president's agenda. Just one more example of centralizing greater control in the White House.
We have 10 seconds. Do you think the takeover is complete?
I think this has been the single most successfully implemented policy of this administration. I think that presidential power acts like a one-way ratchet. It's easier to increase than it is to roll back again. And I don't see, because of the continuing dynamic of the war on terror, this being reversed.
Charlie Savage is the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, won in 2007 for his reporting on this issue. Takeover, the return of the Imperial Presidency and the Subversion of American Democracy is the name of his new book.